or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 HOPE line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. That's 467-369.
That, by the way, that was not a Saturday Night Live skit. Like, how long can we have this voice run on at like 150 miles an hour? That's actually real life, Dan.
Yes, that's good stuff. We need one before this. Like, Dan is not a professional game picker. If you need a good professional game picker, please consult.
Well, we were talking about you early. Look, hey, man, everybody. Look, I went 1-4 on Sunday. I just don't put the picks up.
It's all good.
So Dan Ingham is back. First National Bank of Central Texas. First of all, you were busy running around last week.
That's right.
Right.
I was down at College Station doing some work with our new location down there. So,
so we can talk about the new location.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, we're going to open up first quarter of next year, and we're excited about it. Right on Highway 6, big old 20,000 square foot facility, 3 stories. We're really excited about it.
General curiosity, what moves like a First National Bank of Central Texas to open up another branch? Like what leads to that? Like, because clearly it's good news.
Opportunity. I mean, a place where there's growth, where there's opportunity for deposits, loans, dynamic market, and College Station is that. I mean, you've got a university the size of Texas A&M. There's a lot of people down there. It's growing. There's a lot of good jobs. Those are people who want to buy homes, do things. So it was a really good opportunity.
Yeah, and so you guys are going to open that first January? Is that right?
January, February, somewhere in there. Yeah.
Dude, that's first quarter.
Yeah.
Right? All right, Dan, let's get I need to get your reaction. We just had Alyssa Brandon, who you and I both agreed did a hell of a job.
Yeah, I was very proud of her. She did great.
Yeah, and so you say proud of her. Why? Because you graduated from the school that she's in now, correct?
Yeah, I think they call it, like, when I was in the School of Journalism and Broadcasting, but now it has a fancier name, like Strategic Media Strategies or something. I don't know, but it's a School of Journalism and Broadcasting to me. So it was much different. When she was talking about that 5 o'clock newscast, I did that as well. That's been going around. We did it on tape. We had actually to edit on tape. You've been around long enough. You know those too. Like, I'm sure have you edited on tape before, Pete?
I never edited on tape. I know about it.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm dating myself a little bit. Yeah. We're the same. You just got into TV later.
Exactly.
All right. Fair enough. Yeah. I have some really good memories in the Paul Miller building there at the OSU campus. So it's cool to see her do well. And there's a lot of kids that have come out of that program and done really well.
And we were talking before, like that has evolved into like a place to go for Oklahoma State.
It's pretty cool. It's a place that's known for sports broadcasting. They have a specific program for that. When I was there, we did. No, we had some guys do okay. I mean, still get out. Jeff Haxton, the play-by-play voice of Texas Tech basketball.
Yeah.
Keith Kelly, the voice of Wyoming football, just to name a couple guys I graduated with. So I'm pretty proud of them. So, but yeah, now it is just they have kids from around the country that come there just for sports broadcasting. It's pretty cool.
I see. I can get behind that. I being from the Northeast, I resent the guys from Syracuse. I'm like, give me a break.
Well, and they'll be the first ones to tell you they went to Syracuse too, or Missouri too. So we used to call them the Mizzou Mafia. The kids, and they're great schools, and they're like probably because I didn't get into Missouri.
Of course, dude. Of course,
exactly.
I wasn't good enough to play football at Syracuse. The whole deal. But if they tell you, they'll tell you like this. I went to Syracuse, and my name is Ron Adams.
Yes.
It's like, okay,
we know.
So Oklahoma State, one of the biggest problems that I don't want to say problems, but one of the realities that was shared with me earlier this week with Dave Hunziker, the voice of the Cowboys, was that because I asked him flat out, I was like, I think I'm a little confused because being somebody not from, obviously not from like Oklahoma State or Stillwater, not even born in Big 12 territory, I got the impression that T. Boone Pickens had this flow of cash that just went right into the school, the athletic department,
right,
and there was never going to be a shortage or an issue. There has been in this new era, right? And as Hunziker said, you can help me out, but as Hunziker said, like, this is a group of people that are like, you got to show me before we put money into it. Now, is that like, as an alum, does most of the money, because Oklahoma State's a good school, so you've got folks that are maybe putting more money back into academics than athletics. Like, how does that work there as you see it?
Well, they're not going to have the level of alone with money as OU. I mean, OU's got the medical school, the law school, a lot of oil money there as well. So it's just not on the same par as OU. But there's a lot of alums who have money. I don't know that it's necessarily been a money problem for them. I mean, do they have the money to be like a top 5 program?
Yeah.
But do they have the money and the resources to be a Big 12 champion? Yeah, they do. The reality is it's just been they've struck out a lot on the kind of players they've been trying to get the last 3 or 4 years, maybe 4 or 5. And someone made a point the other day because, yes, they played in the Big 12 championship game 2 years ago against Texas. But I think that was fool's gold a little bit. The reality is they kind of hit lightning in a bottle. The Big 12 was down other than Texas that year. And so they kind of got into there. They had some good play. They finally just kind of pounded it to Ollie Gordon every game.
Yeah.
But they have not been recruiting well for about 4 or 5 years. And Mike Gundy admitted for the first couple of years at NIL, they spread all that money around just on the guys they already had, which is great, but it doesn't go acquire talent. And they did that this year to the tune of 60 new players. And that's a coin flip. And so far it's looking like it didn't work. I mean, so the amount that they've spent, I've been told is comparable with other Big 12 teams, except for Texas Tech. So they've got some money there. It's just been a talent acquisition problem. And you have 4 or 5 subpar years in a row of recruiting. It's not shocking that they're not winning a lot of games. It is shocking to see how bad they've gotten. But the reality is they haven't been recruiting well for several years.
So that's what you're telling me is kind of good news then. I mean, like the fact that for whoever were to inherit the situation, it's not something that's untenable.
Yeah, and I think you've got some alums who are going to open up their checkbooks now. They might have been unhappy with Mike Gundy and some of the things he said and done. So I think you'll see some of those folks. But again, that's not a guarantee. That's why, people get off topic a little bit. I hear people like, oh, of course, Texas Tech's good. They bought their players. Well, no, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
I mean, and the reality is they're spending on par with some SEC teams who don't win every game. And so you still have to go coach them up and get the right chemistry, pick the right players that you're going to give that money to. So it's not as simple as just opening up the checkbook and saying, hey, let's win. Now, it sure helps to have that money, but there's more to it than that.
What do you make of what's going on now with Baylor? They're 2-2. I was of the school of thought that, man, this is going to be a tough stretch to open the season. And man, I'll tell you what, Dan, you're a little like me, and I'm not taking shots at anybody in this room or outside of this room, but like you could set your watch to it, right? End of September, Baylor's struggling, and it's week. Dave Aranda has to go. Yeah. Like you've been around covering this team for a very long time, dating back to when's the first year you covered Baylor football?
2003, Guy Morris.
2003. Okay, so now here we are. 22 years later, the Baylor fan base upset, and I get it. But what are your thoughts on how this team is playing and the reaction to the 2-2 after losing another big home game? Is that sort of like we're prisoners of the moment because we lost a huge home game? Where you at? I
think like being disappointed with them being 2-2 is pretty reasonable. I mean, like they lost 2 games they could have won. Is the season over? No. And there's 2 ways to look at it. They lost a couple games that came down to a play or 2, but good teams win those games as well. I mean, that's what good teams do. So I would feel a whole lot better if they had won one of those games. But you look at the schedule, and they've got a lot of very winnable games left. Yes. So, and I don't want to be one of those just punting it down the road, but like talk to me in a month and a half or so. If they finish the years like 7-5, 6-6, then I think that's going to be a very disappointing season, and that's possible. Yeah. But would it shock you if they go on a run in their next 8 games and go 7-1?
No,
I mean I think it's possible.
Yeah,
they still have a really good quarterback. The defense is not nearly as good as we thought they would be, or that we think a Dave Aranda type defense would be. But my gosh, they're 2-2 and lost 2 games by single digits. So they're definitely in the running to get something done here. It's just good teams have to win those games. I don't know that we're going to learn a lot this weekend. There's no such thing as a bad road win. I don't care who you're playing, but they should beat Oklahoma State by at least a score or 2. You know what I mean? That's a team they should beat. I mean, the line's like 20, which is massive. It's kind of eye-opening to look at, but they should win this game. But then it gets harder. And so they've got to try and piece together some W's and get some good vibes with the fan base. Because I've got a lot of Baylor friends who are pretty upset right now and disappointed.
Well, it's interesting. Like typically there hasn't been a place really to go hide in the Big 12, certainly not 2 weeks in a row, but Baylor has that coming up. I mean, Oklahoma State and Kansas State, you couldn't dial up a better remedy. As far as like the fan base and folks that those big time circles you run in, the wine and cheese crowd, the elites.
Come on,
what do they talk about like a coaching change? Like, is that starting to bubble up like from people you hang out with who are part of who move the needle, right? I mean, I'm kind of breaking your stones, but you do know a lot of people in this area who maybe give money to Baylor, maybe they don't. But like, what are you getting? Like, let's do a little vibe check, as the kids say.
I mean, anyone who, man, I don't want to. I know some people who might give some money, but not the kind of people who can make those decisions. Yeah. But I mean, really, it's Mac Rhodes who's making those decisions.
Yeah.
But, yeah, there's people who are like, man, I've heard people, we should have gotten rid of them a year and a half ago, and we had a chance or whatever. But there's no guarantee you go out and get a coach who's going to do better. I mean, I think Dave Aranda because of his personality is always going to be polarizing. And so unless he wins every single game, there's going to be people that are like, oh, we got to make a change, because he's unique in coaches. He's just different. He'd be the first to tell you that.
Yes.
He doesn't have the gregarious personality necessarily. He's very thoughtful and mindful, which is a real strength of his, clearly. But he doesn't also, sometimes that can be misconstrued as, maybe he's not the right guy for this job. But the reality is this guy has won a Big 12 championship here. He's won a lot of games here, but he hasn't won as many games as people would like to see. And that's just the reality. And so is he coaching for his job? I don't know. But if you're not winning a championship every single year or winning 9-10 games every year with as much money as Baylor is paying him, then, you got to probably act like that.
You know what's funny? I'm sitting here and we're having this conversation, and it's great because I'm like, Dave Aranda reminds me of, and I've never been this guy, but like you hear like someone who's in a relationship and their husband never talks about his emotions, and that can really frustrate like their partner, right? Like he never tells me what he's thinking, or he never tells me what's going on, like what's really going on, and like that's like as fans, that's kind of where we are with Dave. We're like, come on, dude, give us something, like. But that's not who he is. No. And the person you fell in love with is this guy. So you got to ride or die, man. And you got to make the best of the situation. And you got to believe in him, because I do believe. I'm telling you, I think the guy's a good coach, and I think that they can turn it around again. But he's never going to give you that fire and brimstone. Sure. So to what you're saying, if he's not racking up the wins, it's like, what are we doing here? Because like there was scuttlebutt right when the UCLA job came open, like that he would go there. And I was like, that's the last place I would send someone like Dave. He's just not, he's from Southern California, but he doesn't have that LA charisma, right, to drum up a ton of money there. It's just not who he is. It's not who he's looking to be. Yeah.
And that's a program where they need someone to get them a lot of money right now.
Yeah. All right, let's go NFL real quick. I got to get your take on the Cowboys before we get your pick. This is a huge game on Sunday night. It's going to be a lot of fun. I think Green Bay coming off a loss. I don't know really what I think of it. I know that there'll be obviously a ton of Micah stuff leading up to the game, but ultimately it's going to come down to the action on the field, right? It's a home game for the Cowboys. What's your excitement level heading into a matchup like this?
I'm always excited for a game. I mean, for a season that's not lost yet. I mean, like I get fired up for every game, and I am kind of curious to see how Micah Parsons plays in that game. You see that he still has his suite like in the stadium.
Yes.
Because he paid to put his deposit down before the trade. So I think that's really funny. But no, I mean, I'm excited. I mean, are they likely going to win? No, but it's the NFL. And would it shock me if it goes down to the very last play? It's two teams who did not play well last week.
Yes.
Would it surprise me if they both play well? No, not at all.
What do you think about what's the fan sentiment going to be towards Micah? Like, will there be sort of, I guess a mixed reaction is maybe what I'm thinking.
I suspect there's a lot of people that totally blame Jerry Jones on this one. Yeah. And so their anger is geared towards him. But I bet there's some that are like, hey, you got a heck of an offer. You turned it down. This is all your issue. There'll be some boos for him just because it's kind of fun to boo the guy that's on the other team, Yeah. But, I think it'll be a mixed reaction. I mean, I don't think Micah Parsons was the level of popularity in Dallas, and I could be totally wrong that it's going to be like, you're going to see 1,000 Micah Parsons jerseys, Cowboy jerseys in the stadium. Could be totally wrong though.
No, it's not a Luka
that kind of guy.
It's not a Luka playing, against the Mavs. It's just not even anywhere near that. And I think to what you're saying, and I think that also is, the monster that the Cowboys are. And that kind of Jerry, although some of the stuff he does football-wise is foolish, I think all of this Micah Parsons stuff will get swallowed up by NBC Sunday Night Football and the Dallas Cowboys and the Packers. I believe that. I mean, I think it'll be a slice of it, but ultimately, win or lose, I don't think we'll be talking about Micah all night long. All right, First National Bank of Central Texas, right? They do great stuff. You are an extension of First National Bank of Central Texas, but we'll cut them off right there.
Thank you.
Because we've been struggling with our picks. Okay.
I think I'm 0 for, is that right?
0 for 3. My favorite part is how Dan bailed on us last week because good reason. He had work to do, but he thought we didn't put his pick up. But yes, we did. So Scotty and those beautiful.
And that's totally fair. Totally fair.
All right. So what are we thinking this week? Because I've been riding with you every week. I mean, just because I love the action and I love you.
You've already put that money down the engagement ring and everything.
Oh, it's all good. Yeah, we're good.
Good.
No payment plan there.
Fair enough.
I followed my father's advice.
All right. So this week, take me home West Virginia. We're going to those mountain homes. The West Virginia Mountaineers, they've been this kind of team this year. Good week, bad week. Lose to Ohio, beat Pitt. They're back home this week. They're getting 12.5 points at home. That is a ton of points at home. Not, Oklahoma State, 20.5 points at home, but 12.5 against a Utah team that maybe isn't as good as we thought. They got blown out by Texas Tech, who's really good, by the way.
Yeah.
So I like West Virginia getting 12.5 points at home. Take it to the bank. First victory, I'm hoping this week.
Dan, I've loved all your picks, and I'm not just saying that.
I felt good about all of them, man.
Me too. This one is a great one because, in my opinion, and having done like work, kind of prepping for this show and other Big 12 stuff. Rich Rodriguez said, dude, we were everywhere we needed to be last week. We just didn't. We're not delivering like that below physically. Like we need to be more physical, and we've shown we can do that. And I think you are right. Look, we get so swept away by Utah, and okay, we got 2 first-round picks on the offensive line. Devin Dampier looks so sharp against bad teams, right? And then
100%.
Okay, they did get blown out at home by a Texas Tech team. We're all prisoners of the moment. Let's ride it. I'm literally the captain of the ship. Texas Tech is awesome, but we're coming to week 5, dude.
Yeah.
So we don't know. Our boy Tim Brando always says this, and because he's done it forever, so he knows just through history, like there's going to be crazy stuff that happens every college football season, crazy upsets, stuff we didn't expect. And the Utah situation could be one of those, right? Are they for real?
Yeah. And if they go and win by a couple touchdowns on the road, then kudos to them. I'll tip my cap.
We'll be tipping our cap to you next week if this is a W. And
so.
either way we will. How about that?
I need a win, man.
Everybody does. First National Bank of Central Texas. There is any high school football tonight?
No, we get back at it in a couple weeks. In fact, I'm not going to be able to do it next Thursday night, but they'll be back at it in a couple weeks. Yeah.
All right, there he is, Dan Ingham, First National Bank of Central Texas. Thanks, brother.
Thanks, Pete.
All right, we'll step aside. Actually, we'll step aside, come back and wrap it up.